Hello everyone. I often receive questions about scam tokens in private messages, as well as in the comments on my Telegram channel. People often buy a token and then find themselves unable to sell it, leading to the question, why? Why can't I sell it? Well, the answer is actually simple. Most likely, if you bought a token and can't sell it, then you bought a scam that simply cannot be sold. Or in other words, such tokens are called honeypots, or can also be referred to as bait. In my previous YouTube videos, we discussed how to find and analyze tokens in DeFi at an early stage and how to earn those profits. So if you haven't watched these videos yet, I recommend visiting the channel and checking them out, as there is a lot of exclusive, valuable information on DeFi. And I would like to highlight such an important point. Before you start earning and become a guru in analyzing cryptocurrencies, it is crucial to understand how to avoid buying blatant scams, how not to buy those very honeypots. In this video, I will provide a step-by-step guide and teach you how to differentiate scam tokens from good tokens. Watch video until end, it'll be informative, interesting, enjoy watching. First and foremost, when you come across a particular token, you naturally look at the chart. In reality, the token's chart can tell us a lot of things, and often just by looking at the chart, I can already understand whether it's worth buying that token or if it's an outright scam. So, in order to show you what blatant scam looks like, I have opened the chart of the token wave. Please be aware that the chart is configured to show every price fluctuation using a 1-minute time frame. And here's what we can note here. Yes, the token was being sold, meaning there were some small sales, but typically in scams, in honeypots, they are artificially created by admins. And the point is that they usually don't make significant corrections to make the chart appear bullish. So here, precisely if we measure this first correction, it was about 37%. Overall, this correction is minor, and typically honeypots don't have significant corrections. The chart always looks bullish and seems to only be rising. If you find tokens early on, you might think, wow, it's a rocket. But then it corrected and everything went downhill. By investing, you'd lose money. So remember the first rule right away. Under no circumstances do we buy only rising charts. They can be completely without any red candles, yes, only green candles. This is just blatant scam. Here they tried, let's say, to disguise the fact that the token is being sold. Nevertheless, it is important to be attentive. Despite having a few small sales, this token has the potential to quickly become a rug pull scam. As an example, I have now opened the chart of a healthy token, meaning it is not a scam. Observe its chart. Yes, in the beginning when it just began trading, it was likely a mess as well, but subsequently the developers activated sales and the contract became more secure. That's why it happens at the beginning. If you see that a token has just started trading, observe it for a while. Most likely, after a few minutes, it will become safe, and accordingly you will be able to buy it and also sell it. And pay attention, a characteristic of healthy charts is that they usually provide a correction of 50 to 70%. In this location, there was a 60% correction, and it was a highly secure entry point for investment. But we will talk about that later. Right now, I want to mention the following rule that will help you avoid buying scam tokens. Always buy tokens after a 50 to 70% correction. If you enter at the very beginning, always wait for a correction. Usually, as I mentioned before, scam tokens do not experience such corrections. Moreover, by buying after the initial corrections of 50 to 70%, you secure one of the safest entry points. Note that if you bought this token during a 60% correction, we would have measured it here. Sometimes it's easy to make 2x, meaning 100%, and you're already locking in profit. And for those who hurried, for instance, purchased somewhere in this area, that is, not at a 60% correction, but rather at 30%, making 2 times the profit for them will be more difficult. Take note of that. For these purchases, for those who purchased here, it will be at these levels, whereas if you purchased here, for you it will not be just 2 times, but approximately even 3.5 times. So the distinction is quite substantial. That is the reason it is always safer to purchase during a correction. Corrections always occur on healthy charts. The key is to stay composed and not rush, avoiding getting caught up in hype. Why it's important to buy after a correction of 50 to 70% is because tokens often turn out to be very cunning scams. All checkers and services indicate that this token is safe and it grows for a while. We observe this token growing with minor corrections, but at one point it can simply become a honeypot, meaning that even if it was initially safe, developers can suddenly disable sales, and you can no longer sell the token. Accordingly, all the hamsters jumped into the rocket during the rise, thinking it was heading to the moon, only to be scammed successfully. There are many such tokens encountered often, so it's crucial to be cautious. Following the rule of buying after a correction will help you avoid getting into tokens that may become honeypots later. The third rule and the third step you need to take to avoid buying scam tokens is to set up with a reliable service for verifying token contracts. I use DEX Analyzer, it never lets me down. Let's now take this token as an example. I just copied the contract. Let's go to DEX Analyzer, and here I paste the contract, then press enter. Consequently, in this place he displays to me all the important aspects concerning a specific token. In this case, I see that there was a rejection. There was also a liquidity lock for 90 days through the Unicrypt service. And I see fees of 5% for buying and 5% for selling. Also, take note that the trade status is showing green, which means that the token is not a honeypot. And now, for instance, in order for you to comprehend the appearance of a scam token via this service, let's duplicate our initial token wave, insert its contract in this location, hit the enter key, and observe that even though its liquidity is locked and contract is renounced, the token is regarded as a scam, as indicated by the message honeypot, and such tokens should never be purchased. I also want to draw your attention to the fact that tokens can often have hidden functions, even if they are not a honeypot at the moment. As I mentioned earlier, they can become one if there are any dangerous hidden functions in the contract. For example, among the risky features, I consider hidden owner, multi-owner, and there is also the mint function. Let me now explain in more detail about it to illustrate how the mint function works. I have just opened the Degin token. Take note, it looked quite good, but as we discussed earlier, pay attention. The token started, had some local correction, and gradually with such trades, sales were going nicely upwards. Many hamsters jumped in here, thinking it was a rocket, thinking the token would now give big gains, and consequently, at one point, the developer simply sold all the tokens in one transaction and took all the liquidity. One might think liquidity has been withdrawn, but in reality, liquidity is locked. Pay attention to a full 3 months. And here, what the developers did, they simply created new tokens using a hidden function and just sold all of them in one transaction. Note that we can even go down, and here we see there was a one-time sale for $34,000. Consequently, the chart crashed straight to zero and all people lost their money. To assist you in comprehending the appearance of this function, let us duplicate the address and also proceed to DEX Analyzer. And take note, the token is not a honeypot, the trade status is green, the contract renouncement has been executed, liquidity is locked, fees are reasonable, but here is one very interesting feature. Remember how this function looks? It's called mint risk, which means that developers can mint an infinite number of tokens to their wallets, which is exactly what they did, and consequently these tokens cannot be sold at any time, thereby crashing the token price. Thus, consistently focus on concealed characteristics and take into account every aspect in its entirety. I also want to share with you one more life hack and one rule that will help you not to lose money, even if a token seems very attractive to you. Whenever you have uncertainties, you can inquire in the project's chat, which implies going to the Telegram of a specific token and asking questions such as, why am I unable to sell? Or, why does it display honeypot? Indeed, you have the option to act naive, ask such queries, and observe the admin's response to them. Reasonable admins will guide you, try to understand your issue, that is, why you cannot sell, why you face a problem, and assist accordingly. But you will never be removed from the chat or have your messages deleted. If your messages are being deleted or you are being removed from the chat, then this token should not be purchased, as it could be a honeypot, or there might already be something wrong with it. I am confident that if you apply all the information I shared in this video, you will save a lot of money and avoid buying various scams. Don't forget to subscribe to my Telegram channel too, link below this video. There, I provide more interesting info on DeFi, share analysis of tokens, and of course, if the video was helpful, please like it, as it motivates me. Keep making videos and subscribe to the channel, because there will be even more useful content ahead, more helpful videos on the topic of DeFi.